Just sitting down to a quick breakfast of champions, dried bread and protein shake. But beggars can't be choosers, and I'm a bit of a rush, so this is the first thing I could find. Start of day 2 of the Tour du Mont Blanc. Just leaving Aosta and admiring the pretty cool Roman walls. Slightly more sluggish start to the day today, but in theory it's slightly shorter and easier, so hopefully I'll be okay. Only around 150 kilometers to do today, and 4,000 meters of climbing instead of 5,000. So that was Aosta, the Rome of the North apparently. There's so much Roman architecture and history to preserve there, as well as medieval and even older. Wish I could spend a few days there exploring it, but unfortunately I only had one night. But true to form, straight into climbing today, without any warm-up. And this is the big one, the Col de Grand Saint Bernard. Longest, highest, toughest of the whole circuit. So, better crack on. The start of this climb, for God knows how many kilometres, is on a very busy, fast main road. Luckily it's wide, it's not very enjoyable, there's not really much to see, but just gotta get up it, gotta be done. Probably is a minor road I could take, but I don't know where it goes, and Google Maps don't very much help to try and take me up a dirt road, so I'm stuck with this and the trucks. The Tour du Mont Blanc in its normal guise is a classic multi-day footpath which typically takes people anywhere between 6 to 12 days to complete, depending on the level of comfort and luxury that they want to pay for, basically. In its guise as the UTMB, it's arguably the most famous ultramarathon in the world. It's 171 kilometres I think, and the winners will do it in just over 19 hours, so that's insane. Of course it's not possible to follow the route of the UTMB or the traditional TMB on a road bike because it's all off-road, and even on a mountain bike much of it's unrideable. So the route that I'm taking on a road bike is much longer. You have to go much further around to go over fully paved mountain cols rather than just dirt tracks and 4x4 tracks. Thank God I finally left the busy main road. That turning back there, straight on would have taken you to the tunnel that goes underneath the Col de Grand Saint Bernard. Whereas this road goes over the col. Don't actually know if you'd have to cycle under the tunnel or not. Google wants to take you that way, but Google doesn't know everything when it comes to maps. But either way, even if you can cycle under the tunnel, it's much more rewarding to go over the col. And a much more enjoyable ride for this segment now, which should be a much quieter road. So I'm looking forward to it. It's hard to know exactly what distance is because Google Maps isn't very accurate when you're trying to plot road bike routes, but it's at least 300 kilometres, probably about 320 kilometres long, and over 8,000 metres of climbing. So it's a huge undertaking no matter how you do it. It's possible to do it in 3 days, which makes it a little bit more amenable, only around 100 kilometres a day. Because I'm doing it in 2, so at least 150 kilometres each day. I'm doing the circuit anti-clockwise, which is the more traditional way of doing it, and this way it's slightly front-loaded, which is definitely beneficial because I'm much more exhausted on day 2 than I will be on day 1. So yeah, day 1 was around about 180 kilometres, and in theory over 5,000 metres of climbing, whereas day 2 is more like only 140, 150 kilometres with maybe 4,000 metres of climbing, so still tough, but yeah, definitely preferable doing it that way around rather than having the harder day on day 2. I thought this was the hospice from below, but no. Still quite a bit more climbing to do yet. See the road going up there, and the col. There's that little notch over there, I think, or at least somewhere up there. Seeing up here, stunning. Okay, so it was a hospice here, but not the hospice I'm thinking of. Welcome to Switzerland. Look how beautiful it is. Just passed through the old border post, I guess technically in Switzerland now. Certainly my phone thinks so. It's not actually quite at the col yet. Still a few metres short of the hospice, which is dead ahead of me now. And then yeah, that'll be the high point of the tour. Col de Saint Bernard, 2,473 metres I think. It's the third highest I've ever been on a bike full stop, let alone on a massive journey like this. So, quite the undertaking. I've still got another big climb to go today, but nowhere near as big as this one. So, this is me over the hump now, on the home straight as it were. Can't believe people have been over this col since Roman times, perhaps even earlier. This is a hell of a long way up from the valley bottom. And incredibly inhospitable. The hospice here has been here since the 12th century. I mean, not the building you see now, but a hospice has been here since the 12th century, which is just incredible really. This is Martigny on the start of the last major hurdle of the tour, Col du Mont. So I'm back on familiar roads for me now. I've done this a couple of times before, although naturally I nearly bonked right at the top. No, I did bonk right at the top. As you can see, it's a super consistent gradient, which does mean that you can just settle into rhythm and keep going. 13 kilometres, it's pretty long, but it's nothing compared to the Grand Saint Bernard, which I've just done. Once I get to the top of here, it's just a couple of final small lumps and bumps to get into Chamonix Valley, and then I'm basically home. So, assuming I make it up this, I'm home and dry. Like in Bourg Saint Maurice yesterday, I'm really low down now, so I've got the heat to contend with as well. I think it's mid to late afternoon, so pretty much the hottest time of the day, but nice and cool once I get back up to the col again, and then probably getting cold by the time I get into Chamonix. But yeah, we shall see. Major hurdle done. Around 2 hours of daylight left, so I might just make it. If worst comes to worst, at least I can get the train home from Chamonix now. Just the final push. As you can probably see, it's pretty windy up here. Just stiff headwind for the final kilometre, which nearly broke me, but thank God I made it. A little bit downhill, final little bit of up on the Tour du Mont today, and finish Chamonix. And I'm back into France. Land of the Euro. I'll be able to spend money again. That's if I have time to stop and spend any. 18 kilometres to Chamonix now. A little bit of uphill, not too much. Made it to Chamonix. I've got to the point where my body really needs some solid food in it. Not eaten anything since breakfast really, and that was just a dry baguette. But I'm so empty I don't know if I'll actually be able to stomach anything. I've been getting stomach cramps for a while, but I'm gonna have to try. Failing that, go to McDonald's and get McFlurry instead. The main road in out of Chamonix is a highway or auto route, so I can't cycle down that. If I could, I'd be home already. Which means there's one final stinging tail here, Côte de Roadie. It's only a molehill, just 300 metres of climbing, but it's actually the steepest ramp on the whole circuit, I think. The section of probably 12% or more. So yeah, it's definitely a sting in the tail. Anyway, once I'm over this, it really is all downhill from here. Two pizzas yesterday, 2 kebabs today. The thought of that feast is what kept me going for the last 2-3 hours of pain. I'm not quite home yet, but this is as good as. This is the fire now, so I'm just 500 metres away around the corner. Boy, I'm exhausted, but also, finally, I'm stuffed. Not sure I'm going to be able to walk for the next 2 or 3 days now, but what an adventure. I think that might have been the toughest challenge of my life, and I've done Mont Blanc, Maton and the Eiger all from the valley up, so that's saying something. Either one of those days in their own right would have been worthy of a Grand Tour. The big difference of course being that they do it in about 5 hours and it took about 12, but then they're pro athletes with the best gear money can buy and a sport train. So, whereas I was having to carry all my baggage with me and find food and water on the way. But yeah. The biggest challenge actually was the lack of daylight at this time of year. Like, I couldn't set off super early because it was still dark, which meant that I was generally having to pedal really hard at the end to try and get to Aosta and back home before dark. Each day I didn't quite make it, I was maybe 5 kilometres short, but I've only got 10-11 hours of daylight, so what can you do? Aside from that, conditions are pretty much perfect. That's why I chose this time of year. Like, super comfortable temperatures to be riding a road bike in. Not too hot on the climbs on the way up, not too cold on the descents on the way down. I mean, yeah, it's probably mid to high 20s in the valley during the middle of the afternoon, but I spent very little time in the valley, most of the time you're up a hill. So, topping out on coals at mid to high teens temperatures is perfect, really. And barely a breath of wind, roads are dry, really can't complain. I was pretty lucky, I had no mechanicals or no major mishaps. The only big issue I really faced, apart from the lack of daylight as I already mentioned, is I had pretty much constant pain in my right knee almost from kilometre 1. So I was pretty much pedalling on 1.5 legs the whole way around, which really didn't help. But I made it, I survived. I can still walk today, just about. Sore ass as you might expect, but the knee's not too bad. So yeah, got lucky, did well, and pretty proud of my achievement. Just out here making the most of what is probably the last day of summer now, with a bit of active recovery / cold water therapy here at Lac Passy. Yeah, I really can't complain that it's mid-October and I'm still able to enjoy the lake like this in warm summer sunshine. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and maybe learnt something, and maybe it's inspired you to take on your own adventure or challenge such as this as well. So let me know if any of you have actually done the Tour du Mont Blanc by bike yourselves, and what did you think of it? How easy was it, or hard was it? Did you do it in 2 days or 3, or maybe some of you might have done it in 1 day? But anyway, that might be it now in terms of road biking for me for this year, but never say never. You never know what could happen in a week's time, but for now, yeah, my legs definitely need a rest. Time to get in this cold water and time to relax and enjoy a beer.